This might be one of the rarest holocrons that Disney has ever made. You can't get it from Disney anymore. You can still get a hold of them, but not a whole lot of people know where this thing comes from. Let's get into that. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dano channel. I am Dano, and I'm a collector of all kinds of Star Wars stuff, right? I like the more obscure stuff, but holocrons are one of the things you can see here. I've collected quite a few of. I've got one of the rare chase ones that they came in the mystery boxes from Doc Ondar's. I've got, of course, the normal Doc Ondar's ones. I even have some cool older ones. These are the first ones I ever got that were the game 20 Questions from Star Wars Science. Like, you turn it on, it lights up, and you can play 20 questions, and it will figure out what you're thinking of in the Star Wars galaxy. Really cool item. I did a video on that years ago. But today, we're looking at this holocron. Now, this is a special holocron. This is something made by Disney Parks as part of an exclusive experience that did not last very long. In fact, it was announced in 2016. I got a little bit of information for it, but take a look inside there. It glows once you turn it on. It's got a little, kind of like a hologram of Obi-Wan Kenobi in there from Star Wars Rebels, so it's a young Ben. It's on, what's that, 5 sides? It's not on the bottom because that's where the battery is. It's a very simple holocron, but this is one of those pieces that I thought was really special. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I have to have one of those. So I tracked it down and did everything I could to learn about this experience. So let's get into what this whole thing is. So back in May of 2016, Disney announced a new experience coming from their floral and gifts department. Now this department, you can book through them to have like bouquets or gift baskets set in your room, big balloon displays, that kind of stuff. That's what this department generally handles. But this is a specific experience that deals with stuff showing up in your room and also gets you to interact in the park as well, and then back to your room again. And it's a whole Star Wars Rebels theme thing, and it looks amazing. It looks really, really cool, but they don't offer it anymore. So, let's read it real quick. Do you have what it takes to stop the Empire? Today, Lucasfilm is sharing details of a new experience coming summer 2016 to the Disney parks in Florida. Oh, this was in California as well. I did not know that. I thought this was Florida only. Okay. Disney says Ken Malquist, adventure places you either working alone or with the help of any children in your party on an interactive role-playing mission featuring exclusive gear and tech that starts in your Disney resort room. Once the mission is revealed, the adventure leads you to the Star Tours attraction. If you have the courage to complete the mission, an exclusive reward will be waiting for you at the resort room. So, just to look at some of the stuff here, they got some of the door hangers. I'll kind of skip through. There's an app, a specific app that you would use that would scan things around your room. There's some of the prizes you get at the end. And if you go, you can say, so stay tuned. The top secret details about the mission are going to be shared at Disney Parks blog later this month. You click on it. It takes you to, look at that, can't be found anymore. This is the floral and gifts department of Disney World. And that's why I was thinking it was Disney World only, because this is specifically Disney World that it links to. But it's not a thing. You can't do it anymore. Now, I did find there's a website I was looking at that had it. Now, I did find a website, this is disneynews.us, that had a little bit of info on here with the pricing. It says this was updated February 2019. I don't know what they changed on it, but August of 16 is really when this came out. Look at the price. Package runs $500. I can see why this went the way of the dodo, because this is that's pricey, especially for what this is. Fortunately, I didn't have to pay that much for my holocron, fortunately, and I'll tell you guys how to get a hold of one at the end of the video. So this is just basically going over the same press release. They announced it in May or April, original post here, and it's just basically going over that same experience. There's an article I found here on Nerdist that has a lot of the same, but with a lot more promo images, some of the stuff that you get there. And so when I posted a reel about this thing about a month ago, someone on Instagram commented, oh, I know where that's from. My kids did that on a Disney World trip. And so I was like, oh, someone who actually did it. Because I looked online, I looked for blog posts, looked for videos. No one had really documented what this experience was like or what it was. the description they give you on the Disney Parks blog is actually pretty accurate to what it was. But I had a gentleman by the name of, I believe it was Angry Jacob, reach out, and he commented, and he said, you know what, I did it. It was actually something that his sister did for his kids on a Disney World trip. And she did it as a surprise. So imagine going to your room, like getting there, going to your room after a long day in the park, and you and your kids come home or come to your door, and you see this. You see this Join the Empire banner slung over the door. And so you're like, wait, what? Is this our right room? Join the Empire. It's got little lights on it by the looks of it. Like, this is his picture. This is what Jacob sent me. And so I'm like, okay, cool. He sent me pictures. He sent me a whole description of everything. And it sounds like it was really, really fun. So he did say to set the stage, his sister surprised him. So after an amazing day at the parks, sister told the boys she ran into some stormtroopers asking if there were any people in the party that might be interested in joining the Empire. She said she was traveling with two young boys who might want to know more. And then when they returned to the room, they saw this banner. And they entered the room and saw that there was Imperial propaganda posters all over the place. Now, this is the inside of the banner. So on the inside of the door was an Imperial banner, but it's defaced. It's got like graffiti all over it, which is pretty awesome. But he did say there were posters around the room. And so here's one of the posters. Again, an Imperial poster, but with Rebels graffiti on it. That's pretty cool. And then here's another one where they like marked out the stormtrooper. It says ace pilots needed. But then they what does it say? No bucket heads, or just say no to bucket heads. Nice. Nice. So they found all this stuff throughout the room. And so the idea is that the Imperials are going to recruit you, but the rebels showed up to your room before you arrived, defaced all the posters, hid some stuff, because now the Ghost Crew wants you to impersonate an Imperial officer and sneak into Star Tours. And next, they started looking around, and on their table, they found a couple locked boxes. Now, there we go. So on the table, there's some locked boxes. Those would be the gray things with the rebellion symbol on them. There's also some mission briefing. There's the holocrons, and there are these two like lanyard-looking device things that they've got there too. And so I think it has instructions on there to download the app so that you can see, like, you know, interact and scan things around the room. And so speaking of the app, I did a little research and found out more that was actually done through the Star Wars app. Here's a little screenshot from it. I didn't realize this, but it's the same Star Wars app we have today. If you just go to the App Store, either Google or iOS, you look up Star Wars, this is the app you're going to find. Now, I did find the instructions as well that'll show us a little bit more on kind of what was required here. So this is the whole instruction sheet. It says Star Wars Rebels Interactive Adventure for a successful mission. Read this. Required for Star Wars Rebel Interactive Adventure, you need a compatible smartphone, you need admission to the park, how to check for compatibility, basically says what I just told you, to search for the Star Wars app. And this thing did require you to go specifically to Hollywood Studios Park or Disneyland in order to ride Star Tours, because that's part of it. And then it's telling you if you have more Rebels, you want to add more gear, you can call the Disney World Gift and Resort, whatever their gift and floral department, and they can add more to you. And then relive this experience at home. This was the cool part. Take your entire Rebel shipment of gear back home and relive this experience over and over again. To reboot the augmented reality, simply delete the Star Wars app and reinstall. So clear the collection tray, and the messages on the Wayfinders can be scanned to receive Ezra's messages again. So this is the thing that I wish we could still do. I wish it was still on the app. I checked. It's no longer on the Star Wars app. But if it were to work today, just like the rest of this experience, they'd have stuff hidden all over. You'd be able to scan and continue with the mission. But he said, like, in the cabinets and just in little places all around the room, there were these little, like, symbols hidden. And if you scanned them with your phone, it would, like, unlock part of the app and tell you what to do next. And so they were on a mission. Like, the second they walked in the door, they were on a mission, which is that just sounds like so much fun. And so they also had a little package there with lightsabers. They got blankets, and the sister sprung extra to have their names put on them. But they also had, this is the cool part, they had these hats. Look at that. They had these hats, the Imperial officer hat. They had rank badges that are metal, magnetic, like good quality, not just cheap, like garbage ones, but something substantial. And so all the stuff on this table here, I believe they got to keep, maybe not the mission briefing binder, but all the other stuff they got to keep. That's theirs. So in this case, the $500, paid for one set of those. They have two, so I think it was like an extra add-on of like 300 and change or something, which again explains why this didn't happen very long. They didn't offer this very long. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of people did it. It's Disney. It's pricey. What do you expect? But kiddos got their hats on. They got ready. They got their stuff. They got their lightsabers. They got their blankets. They get satchels. You can see them wearing there. They got like an imperial satchel. And all of these items that were in cabinets and hidden around the room, like behind these symbols, when they would scan, they'd find, oh, here's the hats. Oh, here's the rank badges. Oh, here's the holocron. Here's, other stuff. The posters were around the room already. And so they're on this like scavenger hunt in their own room. And when they finished it, the app played a little message from Ezra Bridger telling them that they needed to go to Star Tours, and their little lanyard transmitter things would transmit a signal for them. They didn't have to do anything special. They just had to go and ride the ride. And they head down to Star Tours. And so I guess the kids were jazzed all day. The kids, they went to the park, and the kids were like, hey, we've got a mission to do. Meanwhile, they're doing rides, and the kids were constantly reminding, Dad, we gotta go to Star Tours today for the mission. We have a very special mission. It's and they just, I love that the kids got into it. So all the next day, they wouldn't stop reminding us they had important business to carry out, and the mission was at stake. And so they wore their hats, their rank badges, and they marched into Star Tours and proudly told cast members that they were on official business. The cast members, of course, played along and never once made the kids feel like they were doing anything different. They were like, oh, yeah, yes, officer, totally played along, which is awesome. That's what's cool about it is this is before Galaxy's Edge. They were doing this kind of stuff. So after the ride, they were instructed to scan the Star Tours logo. So they had to get their phone out and scan the logo outside of the ride. And so this would signify the mission's completion, and the boys were rewarded with combination lock boxes back at the resort. So to go back a photo, I believe this is them with everything at the end, but those black boxes are the lock boxes, or they were given the code to the lock boxes. That's what it was. They were given the combination. So they had the lock boxes, but they were locked. So once they scanned the logo, they were given the combination so that they could open them. And inside is where they got the next prize. The medal. So inside those lock boxes was Chewie's medal from Yavin, and it's not like a cheap plastic one. Again, this was a medal made of real metal, and it's kind of cool that you had this experience where you go from room to the holocron. They'd have to scan that with the app as well, and it's all Rebels themed, and it just looked like it was a ton of fun. There's the kiddos with their hats, bags, medals. Imagine doing this, even as an adult. I don't know that I would want to pay that much for a day's worth of thing. I mean, Star Cruiser is slightly more than that, but you get a lot more. You get food, a lot more entertainment. It's just as interactive, if not more interactive, and you have a whole set. But this is one of the items, and I had to have it. This is that holocron. You can see Obi-Wan Kenobi in there, and it's just a cool piece. Now, I told you I was going to share with you where I found it and how to get a hold of it. And, of course, I'm going to put links down below to make it easy for you. But I found them on eBay. In fact, there's one seller who's got him, this guy, Vault Collectibles. You're welcome, Vault Collectibles, for all these sales you're going to make, thanks to me, now that everybody knows about it. When I posted the reel, a month ago, he sold out instantly. People looked it up, and they figured it out. A couple did. And, the 4 or 5 he had in stock sold out. So $25 is not bad. Way better than $500. But I'm going to put an affiliate link. It's an eBay affiliate link, which means I get a commission. It doesn't cost him anything. Basically, all it does is take eBay fees, and it gives them a chunk to me. So that helps support the channel on this if you use that link. But that's not the only thing I found. If you want to get a hold of that banner, this guy's selling the banner as well. Now, you might be wondering, wait, how the heck does this guy have the banner? How did he get all this stuff, and how does he have so many of them? Well, there's a thing called Cast Connection, and it is basically a store where a lot of the items that don't really sell well, they'll sell them to cast members for cheap. It's like a backstage kind of store, and the cast members get first dibs on buying some of the stuff for a lot cheap. Apparently, these were just, someone said, oh yeah, I went to Cast Connections and saw just a bunch of those in a bin. You could just buy them for cheap. And so the general public did not buy them, which is what makes them rare, in my opinion. Is these were available to the general public, but not a lot of people took advantage of it. Now it's just at this Cast Connection store, because this did not survive the pandemic closings of 2020. This was available, from what I could tell, there were still posts saying it was available in at least late 2019, which leads me to believe everything closed in March of 2020. There's not a whole lot of documentation on it because at this point it was about 3 years old, and so why, if there's nothing new, why would anyone document it? But it seems like this went away with 2020, and when everything reopened, this didn't come back. So a lot of those items, this stuff, the door banners, they're at Cast Connection for pretty cheap. Now this guy, Vault Collectibles, is selling them at a substantial markup, I'm sure, but at least it's not $500 for this kind of thing. And if you want one of these hats, I actually got this one on Amazon, and it's not bad. It was fairly inexpensive, so I'll drop a link to that too. But guys, this is the Holocron. Are you gonna snag one? Are you gonna add this to your collection of rare Holocrons? What do you think about that experience? I think it's cool because it's a precursor to Galaxy's Edge. And it's kind of interesting to see. Now, at this point, they were already developing and working on Galaxy's Edge. They were actively building, and the land had been cleared, and they were, doing work on Galaxy's Edge. They were already planning it while this experience launched. But I would like to see something like this come back. Even if it was in the land. Like, just let's speculate for a minute. What if Disney offered a $150 package or something where it's for Galaxy's Edge. Maybe it doesn't go in your room, but you go check in at, like, Disneyland or wherever, like the VIP services or City Hall, whatever they've got. And you check in, and you order your package or whatever, and you get started. It's either, or maybe you do it on your device in the My Disney Experience or the Disneyland app. And you have to go to a certain place and scan something. And then it kicks off a mission. Use the data pad. If there was DLC for the data pad, they'd be like, all right, pay a little bit extra for this specific kind of mission, and it gave you something physical. It gave you something tangible to hold in your hand. I would feel a lot better about doing a mission like that than I would paying $50 for a magic band that gets me nothing. I still run around doing missions with the app, with the magic band, with the Batu Bounty Hunter game thing. It's a ripoff of the original Batu Bounty Hunter Guild. Just saying, established in 2020. So it's 2.5 years before they did. Just saying. But, I don't know, I would just feel better. Like, I would honestly pay more. I'd be okay paying more for an experience that gave me something tangible, something real, that was interactive, that, like, I had to go get on a ride. They could include Lightning Lane with that. Like, let's say you pay a certain amount, and you have to go ride Smuggler's Run, and you get, like, a Lightning Lane for that. There's little things you could do that would entice you to pay for Lightning Lane, which you don't even need a Lightning Lane for Smuggler's Run, let's be real. But it could be a way to get people to pay for one if there was something, well, you have to scan this thing while you're in there. And, it just, this kind of stuff, like, stumbling upon this years after it happened. I remember when they announced it, but I never really thought about it. I wasn't really doing Star Wars-y stuff on YouTube so much back then, so I never really, like, dealt with it. But now that I find it some years later and learned about it recently, I'm just like, wow, they could do that. They could do these kind of cool items, because this, I'll be honest, this Holocron, it's not worth $25. It's fairly cheaply made. You can tell it is, but it's really about the rarity. It's about the story. It's about this is from an experience that's no longer offered, which is kind of what gives it value to me. And so, I don't know. Let me know how you guys feel about that. Would you like to see Disney do more stuff like that? Disney, if any one of you is watching my vids, hey, think about it. Just think about it. Do something cool like that. We'd do it, and we'd probably pay more money for it if it had something physical. Give me something to hold on to and bring home and put on my shelf that'll look cool with all the other stuff. Just saying. Guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Leave a thumbs up on this video. And until next time, don't be a moof milker. Be the spark.